Hello, hello, hello. Made it. It's always a last minute job. I've been running around outside in the rain, and you know, it's wonderful. I love this sort of rain. I love the winter months. I love the quietness of the plants, the fact that the garden just looks after itself. And if plants are in soft pots, you know, they can look after themselves. They absorb the ground and the rainwater. I don't have to worry about them at all. Welcome to the Saturday Soft Pot Club. I'm Annie Austin Meek, but everybody knows me as Annie Softpot because I invented soft pots, well over 15 years ago now, and I've been doing all sorts of things with them. I take them on tour with me when they go to festivals and shows, and I've done shows at the RHS, I've done shows all over the place. And, oh hello Debbie, oh hello, thank you for joining me. Ah, good morning, yes, it is a lovely morning. You know, I used to live in Australia. I only did it for a year. And I used to dream of weather like this. Soft, warm, drizzly rain. Oh, yes. I found that I travelled for many years. And, you know, I was always a stranger in a strange land. And I always really enjoyed travelling. But there was always something inside of me that just wasn't quite right. And, you know, I think we're like homing pigeons. Because as soon as I came back to England, that feeling stopped. And I do think that we're born to the resonance of the area that are on this planet. And something inside us knows when we're home, at least on the right side of the hemisphere. And yes, I love rainy days like this. I don't sit there going, oh no, it's a rainy day. I go, oh yes, it's a rainy day. Wonderful, wonderful. Especially during the summer. And the other thing is, on a rainy day, if you're sitting there going, oh no, it's a rainy day, don't be sad. Make a soft pot. If you're not making a soft pot on a rainy day like this, you think, oh, I don't know what else to do. Make yourself happy. Get your happy on. Make a soft pot. Now, some people will be joining me. They've probably got no idea what I'm talking about. Well, it's not very often that you see something really new and different in the gardening market or the craft world. And actually, soft pots are both. They're both a new form. It's a new form of container gardening, and it's also a new form of garden craft. I don't know if there is a garden craft, but anyway, yes, it's a new form of garden craft. Kate Morrison. Oh, good morning. Going to the garden centre tomorrow. Any recommendations on inside plants? Inside plants are difficult at this time of year. They are. I have to admit, sometimes, you know, if you're indoors and you've got raging central heating, it's very, very hard to keep a plant, any plants really. But having said that, I've got this little chap, had him for this one for many years, and this one is actually sitting inside a bangle. This one's called lithops, and they're called stone plants, and they don't look like anything, but they do actually sometimes flower if you get them really right. But all you need to do with those is give them a spray and they just get on with the job. There's hardly any watering. And, I don't know if I can get him out. He's just a tiny little soft pot sitting inside a bangle. And sometimes I wear the bangle and sometimes the soft pot does. Oh, hello, Roy. Oh, thank you very much for joining me. Wonderful photographer. I like what you're doing very much indeed. I'm still following your posts and everything. Yes, thank you for joining me. Yeah, this is a plant that you can have indoors, and isn't it cute? And they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. The other thing you can do is, if you're going to a hospital, something like it's like that hot, don't give them a plant at all. Just give them a fake plant. Make a soft pot with a fake plant. They look fantastic. They still bring joy. Not the way that a living plant can. I mean, I love living plants, but that's always a good one. Oh, indoor plants as well. If you've just got a regular sort of central heating, nothing too serious. Something like this. This is good. You see these all over the place at the moment. And now this one I made sort of a couple of weeks ago. And you know something, it's been hanging around and I'm not happy with it. It's one of those things, you look at it and think, I don't know, I'm not really sure. the wonderful thing about soft pots is if you don't like it, change it. You can just change the dress like a Barbie doll. Anyway, I'm going to change this one. I'm going to do something with it, and I thought maybe if I've got time, I'll do it with show you what it is that I do. Because sometimes, I mean, you get things and you make them, and it's like, ooh, I don't know, they're not quite right for you, and it's just wonderful. Soft pots are so creative. I mean, soft pots. What is a soft pot? All right, the definition of a soft pot is a handmade fabric plant pot for any plant, indoors or out, big or small. The only thing that limits me to the size of pot that I create is whether or not I can lift it. Because when I go out on tour, I need big plants, and I do have big plants. But having said that, I always have to lift them on my own. That's the golden rule. But you can have them really big, really small, indoors, out. Whatever you do, a soft pot is better for your plant. Soft pots work on so many different levels. This one, this one I made the other day. And you know something, I was telling you, I showed you a couple of weeks ago how awful making soft pots is with heavy duty tights and stockings. And the first one I made was really awful, and then I dressed it up with a fishnet and wools and things, and it's suddenly very pretty. It's over there, but I can't get to it. And this week I made this one, and this is using, again, heavy duty stockings, but I have to admit it's beautiful, but you still have to use a glossy stocking, a leg of sheer stocking. It's really almost impossible to make a really beautiful soft pot with a heavy duty stocking. You need to put, as I said, this sheer gloss over the top, and then suddenly, poof, it's magic and it's transformed. And that is actually a very beautiful pot with, isn't that gorgeous? And the thing is, you get attached to your soft pots. Soft pots are so creative. They're like friends. They're like pets. It's very hard to part with them. Unless I'm doing something for somebody and I know it's going, I can do it. But if I'm just messing about and making a soft pot, I make it, and suddenly when it's finished, this I don't want to change. That other one I do. You get to know them. They're plants with personality. That's what they are. What else did I bring in? I've done some bigger ones as well, actually. Oh, and I've done a few bulbs. And this one, at about this time of year, the bulbs come in, and you can see the back there. And I start, this is a time where I start building collars, and also building height. Things that might bring height into the garden. Because a lot of the time, soft pots can be really small. You finish up with them sort of grouped together, but outdoors, you need height in your garden. Anyway, this is just a little bulby job that I did, and you can see the pretty neckline there. It's got all the colours in it. I mean, soft pots are mouldable, sculptable, paintable. You can leave them plain, and they look absolutely wonderful. They look like stone. Soft pots is just a joy. It's just a joy. And I stand here talking about it, and I say buy a kit, and I do. Buy a kit. Do it. And you will know the joy of soft pot making and how to get your happy without, having to spend loads and loads of money, without depending on anybody else. It just connects you. Soft pots are a combination of the earth, the living plant, your own creative spirit. And when you make it, you're working with all four elements. And when you're dressing it with your own creative spirit. And every time you make one, it'll always be different. Oh, hello, Nigel. Hello, thank you for joining me. I'm just going blah, 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 blah. And this one, I made this one. And now, the thing is that when I do a demonstration here on this show, I only ever really show you the simple soft pot. But these are the stretchy necklines that I was telling you about. You can reuse soft pots. Depending on how you build them, you can reuse them, you can reuse the materials that are in them. The whole thing is you know, made from, hopefully, ideally, recycled sheer stockings and tights. And yeah, this is just a little pretty little girl. Look at that. And you get all the joy of plants, you know. You know, all you only need is one plant. It gives you a thrill. And you don't need a big garden. You can, soft pots are perfect for patios, indoor plants. Oh, I tell you what, coming back to indoor plants, let me just, I mean, I'm always dragging this one out, but let's see if I can get it. This one's good, this one's good. Oh, almost knocked my drum over. Peace lily. Peace lilies are good indoor plants. They take a lot of hammer, and they just keep on going. Just beautiful. Peace lilies, I recommend. Yeah, and these, you know, they're just, you know, they're called money trees, don't they? But they're jade plants, and they really do take a beating as well inside a house. And you, with soft pots, you only need to water them maybe once a week in a heated environment. If they're indoors, they just absorb the water and they hold it because of the special soft pot gold ingredient. And so yes, altogether, I mean, soft pots are just so good for plants. The roots grow normally, you don't get root spiralling. They can breathe. They're not prisoners like plants in ordinary pots. And as you can see, you know, they're fat bottom girls. They're quite different from a conventional plant pot. And yes, I mean, you can just do so many things with the soft pot. You can make people sculptures. I think I showed you one of those. It's on the wall at Henshaw's now, peering over at the traffic. Some people notice it. Right, yes, back to indoor plants that are good. Right, what else have I got? Sorry, I got distracted. I mean, this is the trouble, isn't it? I get distracted all the time. This is, Old Faithful. This was at York. This started off in York 6-7 years ago now. It must be 6 years ago. And it's still going. And it just shows you that you can get any old bit of junk and you can make a soft pot and involve it. And then suddenly it becomes just a little work of art all on its own. And I put the bird in there. This it's just a little decoration, extra decoration. I mean, soft pots wear feathers, jewellery, beads, all with aplomb. I've never come across a plant pot that can wear feathers, but it's true. They do. Right, oh, and this one. This is a little juniper plant, and I couldn't resist it. I just really liked it. And this actually is a recycled, reused soft pot. And, oh, hello, Luke. Hello, Alan Smythe. Hello, Alan. It's still happening, the Zoodoo thing. Yeah. I've planted so many seeds already this winter. Having said that, you know, at one point I used to nail myself to the wall going, yes, I'm going to do this, and I'd have this sort of attitude of commitment, nail myself to the wall about it, and then beat myself up if it didn't happen. And actually, a lovely rainbow lady called Helen Kinsey, she said once, she said, rather than say, yes, I'm going to do this, I promise myself, she said, why didn't you say, I aspire to this? And it sort of lets you off the hook if it doesn't happen. And it lets you free to sort of go with the flow a bit. Otherwise, you can finish up with this fixed idea, and you finish up beating yourself up about that fixed idea not manifesting. In actual fact, all these other options, which are probably better, have been knocking on your door. So yes, I aspire to lots and lots of things this coming summer, and I do hope that, you know, some of them at least come to fruition. But yes, I'm very glad it's still, well, it's only just February. Still got a lot to do. But here is my little juniper. And, you know, I think I might just sort of train it a little bit. I don't know, see how it goes. I'll bring it back later. I'll pop that down here. Getting to the bigger ones. Ooh, I'll put that there. Now this is a little rainbow euphorbia. And I decided to go for something that's just a little bit bigger. And again, because it's winter and cold and everything, you know, they're still sort of very much on the woolly side. But I think it's a very, 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 I just could not resist it. And you see, this is getting bigger. This is getting to be a bigger soft pot. And you can get bigger, 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 bigger still. And sometimes, you know, I was talking about height, getting height into, you know, a soft pot garden. I find these lovely. This is going to go over to Henshaw soon, but it's, you can just see the top. But yeah, that is nice, just a nice decorative thing with some beautiful pussy willow in there. See, that really big fat buds couldn't resist. And so yes, I made something that hopefully will sort of give some interest to the garden and just be there. And sometimes I hang my little dangly mirror things on it. That's quite handy as well, bringing in the light. All these little dangly things. I haven't got any dangling near enough to me to go and get them, but... Oh, and this one, remember the rosemary I brought in last week? Well, again, it was one of those things. I thought, something wrong with it. I don't know, I'm not happy about it. You know, and I couldn't take it to Henshaw's. And then all of a sudden I realised rosemary flowers have this beautiful blue. And that was what was missing. So I just thought I'd enhance it a little, and I added blue to it, and that reflects the colours that the flowers will be. And sometimes, you know, if you dress the plant in the colours and the vibrational hues that it naturally wears, it just enhances it. It makes it, you know, if you've got blue eyes and you wear a blue jumper and it just enhances the colour of your eyes, just the same with plants. And when you've finished, if you have any doubt at all, just reflect the colours that are in the plant, and you see at the end of it, it goes, hello, I'm beautiful. Yeah, it does. It does. You can see the difference. You can take the simplest little plant, the cheapest thing you can think of, something that you wouldn't even think of giving as a gift. You think, well, you know, what would I do with that? You've got to buy a pot or something. You make it into a soft pot, and it is sacred, and it reflects the colours that the person you know, loves, and it becomes a bespoke gift and a gift of love, and it's a gift that keeps on giving because it makes you happy when you make it, and it makes the person happy to receive it, and it's just beautiful. And you know, making a soft pot, it creates its own vibrational energy, and it just connects you all the way through. I mean, you know, before I invented soft pots, I invented a better ironing board, a better bucket, a better hoe, a better insect deterrent. And I mean, all of those I still live and die by. They're still better. You want to know about a better bucket, better hoe? You just ask me and I'll give it to you for free. I don't care anymore. But the point being was that, you know, ideas. You know, this is a better ironing board. I still believe that. But it didn't touch me the way that softpots touched me. Softpots is a new craft, and as such, it's incredibly therapeutic and healing on lots and lots of levels. It's mindfulness. When I do workshops, I teach workshops. You know, if you want to book me, you can do. Just contact me, Annie Austin. Annie at softpots.com. Yes, there's a mindfulness. And when I'm teaching even a class full of 30 women, it can be really noisy to start with, but the second they start decorating their soft pot, whoa, you can hear a pin drop. It's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And I know I stand here every week saying, God, try it. Do. Order a 10 quid kit. You know, it'll make you, there's enough gubbins in there to make 3 or 4 soft pots easy. More if you just get some more tights. And yes, and you just get a feel for it. Yeah, if you know somebody who's got a birthday coming up and you don't know what to get them, send them a soft pot kit. If they like plants, living things, see what they do with it. Yeah. Right, anyway, what am I doing? Oh, I know. I was going to do something about this. It's one of those things that's been niggling me, it's been hanging around, and I haven't taken it anywhere, I haven't done anything with it. So I think actually I want to change it. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to take that little thing off. I mean, soft pots, as long as they're made right on the inside, it really doesn't matter how they're dressed on the outside. They're like people. As long as they're made right on the inside, how they choose to decorate themselves on the outside is entirely a matter of personal taste. And yes, now, what am I going to do? I can't undo it all the way, but I'm just going to, I just feel that I want to, this is called distressing. And I've taken a pair of scissors and I'm just slicing into it. And all the bits are hanging out, and I like that better at the moment. Da-da-da. Yep, I like that now. I like that better. As I said, soft pots can be quite reflective. But, see, I mean, even that, I mean, some people would hate it. Some people want everything nice and closed and finished. And some people really like that look. And actually, I have to admit, today, I do. But I'm going to keep on going with it. I'm going to keep on going. And, as part of the Zoodoo thing, I managed to source a whole load of fishnet knee-highs. And they were quite cheap. Unfortunately, they were all red. And I think I'm going to use this. And I'm going to put that on. Take it up. I mean, we're coming into Valentine's, isn't it? Yeah, this is going to be quite a sexy looking job, I think, by the time we're finished. Getting more interesting. Right, I'm just going to tie a bit of this. Actually, I don't want to be too long because there's something else I wanted to do. I actually thought today that I'd show you the other way to use heavy-duty tights, because that's what you've got. If you're sitting there and you, mind you, having said that, you still need soft pot gold, please order it from me. If you make a soft pot, use a soft pot gold, and then it's made right. And it will perform like a proper soft pot. Otherwise, you can have a real issue. Now I'm making a tie right under there, nice and tight. And I think, yes. This is just some acrylic wool. There we go. And I'm just wrapping that around just a little bit. There we go. And then going to take that down over the top. I often find it, I suppose actually, it's February, it's coming into love month, isn't it? Valentine's Day. Yep. And there's a cycle to soft pots, the cycle of the year. And so far, you know, I think I've done about 8 months. Right. I'm going to just pull that down. Do the twizzle. Now, in this instance, I haven't got enough to make a knot, so I'm just going to make a tie underneath there. Cut that off. Yes, now that is getting to look more interesting. Yes, still want something else though. What else? Feathers, I was talking about feathers, wasn't I? Now, it'd be nice if I'd had some different colours. Right, the wonderful thing you can do with soft pots, you know, is you can use feathers. Feathers on the inside go ziggy-zaggy when they get wet. Feathers on the outside, you can just tuck them in. See? Just tuck them in. And you could go all the way around. And this is actually a nice way to make a little hanging bird. If you make a little soft pot, cover it all in feathers like this, make it into a hanger, hang it from the tree, and it sort of bounces up and down. And I have to admit, when it's been pouring with rain and all the feathers are soaking wet, it looks a bit sorry for itself. But the second the wind comes up, they go, and they're all fluffy again. Definitely feathers. Don't be afraid of using them. Oh, hello, Chrissy Rose. Oh, hello, love. Oh, thank you for joining me. It's a funny day, isn't it? I was saying, though, how much I enjoy the rain. I love rainy days and being inside and dry and warm. That's a prerequisite, of course. And making soft pots, because soft pots go all year round. Now, if I had some different coloured feathers that I could get my hands on, I'd probably shove some more in. But there we go. Now, I think that's a far more interesting soft pot. I'm much happier with it. See? It's just got some interest, hasn't it? And I think it actually suits. I think the plant likes that better as well. There we go. And if I want to water it, just stand it in water, sort of halfway up with some water, some feed. Just leave it there for a few minutes and it'll just suck it up like a sponge. And when you pick it up, it won't be drippy or soggy. And the way to tell if a soft pot needs watering is, I mean, they're a bit like kids. You can't tell from the side. You have to put your hand underneath. And you can tell by the weight and the dampness. You should feel some dampness there. And after a while, you get to know them like friends. You can just tell by the weight whether they're too, they need to drink. So, yeah, anyway, there we go. One happy little plant. I'm happy with that now. Mm-hmm. You see, when you get to the point where you can't help but kiss it, then, yeah, you've come to a good conclusion between the two of you. Yes, we're happy. I'm happy. Right, so on we go. Now, let me just move that a moment. Is anybody going to join me and actually make a soft pot with me today, by any chance? What have I got? No, you're maybe watching some. Shall I make a unilateral decision? Ooh. This one's pretty, isn't it? Oh, I mean, you can feel the quickening, can't you? I mean, we're in Imbolc, the quickening starting, and you can feel it. And my interest in plants, has grown again. We all respond to the heat, the light, the sun. And when I see this, though, ooh, that's all you need, one plant to make you happy. Right, now, I thought this time I would try and show you how you make a soft pot and make the best of the heavy-duty types that you've already got. Having said that, if you can get hold of one sheer, shiny, glossy, tendenia stocking, it will make all the difference. Otherwise, it can be very, very dull looking as a soft pot. So, I have here a combination of soft pot gold and the right sort of compost for that plant. And you see how beautiful it is? It looks like a sort of scrummy sort of cake mix, doesn't it? And that's what you need. You can't just put compost into a legged stocking and think it's going to work, because the nature of the remit of a stocking is to constrict. And actually what happens if you don't put something in to stop that constriction, the whole thing just gets so constricted it won't let water or anything in, it turns into a rock and everything dies. That you could use gravel if you're desperate. don't bother with that perlite stuff, it's disgusting. Get this, Soft Pot Gold. You can get it from my website. It goes a long way. 3 scoops of compost, I'll add 1 scoop of Soft Pot Gold. And whether you're sculpting, making stones, whatever, you want to give your, whatever it is you're doing, the best possible chance, use the Soft Pot Gold. It's a natural mineral. It comes from volcanoes and they blow it up like popcorn. And they, oh, hello. Hello, Nicola. I have something to show you. You gave me so many years ago. And where is it? I've still got your bell, you know. I was actually using, remember that bell you gave me, Nicola? I still use it. I was actually using it only last week. Every time I ring it, I think of you. Thank you. Hope you're well, happy. You up there in the up north at the moment, driving round in a Land Rover? Go easy. Yeah, got the compost. So, there's a mix. Now, soft pots themselves are actually really light. And if I'm just making a normal soft pot, I will always add some washed gravel. I say washed because whether you go out and get some stones from your next door neighbour's garden, go pick up some stones, just wash them. Because otherwise it's got grit, sand, and possibly slug eggs. And so you just give it a quick wash under the sink. And the one thing you want to avoid actually when you're making soft pots is sand. So don't use the John Innes, that makes an incredibly heavy pot. It's full of sand and it all comes through. You can do other things, you don't need that. Right, stocking. I am going to use a, see if I can use a blonde one. Even I'm getting fed up with the dark. The dark stockings, I'll show you the difference. Right, now, got my ring. All of this stuff, by the way, comes with a kit. Please, feel free to order a kit. You can go to my website, softpots.com. You can always contact me, Annie at Softpots. Right, I'm going to put in some gravel. Just needs to be a handful, just enough to give it some weight. Whoop. And then to fill it, the best thing to do is put your bucket down, dangle this over the top of your bucket if you can, and just let gravity do the work. I mean, the lovely thing about soft pots, you know, is you don't get dirty, you don't get a bad back from digging, and you only need one plant to give you a thrill. And I'm just filling it up. Now, this sort of, when you fill it up all the way, of course, that it sort of makes a medium-sized soft pot. You can make smaller ones, bigger ones. Right, don't need the ring anymore. Now, got my gravel, got my stocking, and what I'm going to do now is the bounce. I'm a little teapot. I always put my hand on my waist there when I'm doing this, but here we go. Yeah, this is called the bounce, and all I'm doing is bouncing it up and down, a bit like bell ringing. And all the compost is dropping to the bottom in a nice loose pile, and that's what I want. And see how beautiful the soft pot gold is inside that pot. If you put that out, it will look like stone. They weather really beautifully, and if you leave them there long enough, they grow their own moss, their own patina. So you can finish up with a complete. You can make stones. I've built a well. I have a well out there that I made out of soft pot stones and built it around a bucket. Because I always need a bucket in the garden to plunge everything, and it just hides the bucket just perfectly. Yeah, right, there we go. Anyway, got that. Da, 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 da. Now, I've done the bounce. Going to do the donut. get my hands in and I'm got my thumbs and I'm squishing, going around and squishing everything. Da 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 da. Don't want any lumps in your compost because it affects the drainage. It's a bit like cellulite, suddenly it shows. Right, da da da, I'm going to walk this down. I haven't forgotten about using the heavy duty, but I cannot get away from needing to use one glossy stocking to make a heavy duty tight soft pot look good. So, here we go. I'm going to take that, I'm going to turn it upside down. Come to me, close your eyes, come to me. Right, I'm going to give it a stretch, and this is the most difficult bit actually, is trying to get this into the pot in the first place. If you've got children and you're doing it with your children, just hold the neck open and let them just drop it in. They don't have to force it down, no, just drop it in, sit it on the top. And then, ta-da! Stretch the neck open any which way you can, and after a while you get good at it, and especially if nobody's watching. Take it up over its head. Actually, in a way, maybe it's better with blonde heights for this, because you can see easier, can't you? Right, here we go. It's sitting on there, sitting on the ball of compost. I'm going to put my thumb on its shoulder, and I'm just going to bring up the compost. I always tend to think of them as a bit like children. You pop them into bed, and now all you have to do is bring up the compost and tuck them in. And so what I'm doing here is going, oop, and I'm just bringing it up nice and gently. I mean, everything needs a nice home. Everything wants to thrive in the right environment, and this is as close as you can get, really, to making a plant happy if it's not in the soil or in the ground. Right. So I'm bringing this up, tucking it in, let's have a look. Yep, there we are. And it doesn't really matter too much about the shape at this point. Now, I've got these bits of heavy duty stocking here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap it round. Like that. And then I might just shove some bits of material you want to make sure that the bottom is clear. You don't want heavy duty tights, layers and layers and layers all underneath. Right, I'm just putting that material there underneath. Hopefully it's going to sort of match that pink. Just tucking it under. When I say tucking it under, I'm tucking it under that heavy duty material, but the base there is still clear. Can you see that? Right, then I'm going to take a pair of scissors and I'm just going to cut the holes in the top layer. And you'll get like a pretty polka dot effect. And you can fill these holes, you know. You can poke in other bits of different coloured material. That's no problem. I mean, sometimes I get a bit... Oh, I have to take this off. It's really warm in here today. It must be warm out. Well, it is. It's quite warm outside. And get the idea. I mean, in a way, I mean, you make a soft pot and it's really quick. What takes time with the soft pot is decorating it, you know, and then getting it right, so you're both happy. As I showed you with that other plant, just wasn't happy with it. So give it another go. It's never too late with the soft pot. The soft pot's very kind and considerate to plants. Just chopping up a little bit of that. Just to show you, you can just stick, you know, another bit of material. In there. And so you could go on. So, right, okay, from there, what else? Ooh. Oh, a bit of that, that's quite nice. When it comes to decorating, do stick to synthetic materials. If it's wool, cotton, silk, sacking, anything like that, it just won't work. It rots and the whole thing becomes really slimy and horrible. So always try and stick to natural synthetic materials. Having said that, this is the only exception. And as you can see, all the colours there. Oh, hello, Sue. Goodness me, Will. Hello. Yes, I'm showing people how to use some of the heavy-duty recycled tights, because I know that that's what most people have got at home. But even so, if you want to make it good, use a sheer, shiny, glossy 10 denier over the top, and poof, you're fine. Right, there we go. This is the only natural material I can use. It comes in all those wonderful colours there. And that's what helps make a soft pot completely bespoke, and you can match up anybody's decor, anybody's eye colour, and you don't need a lot of it. And you can mix it and match it and blend it and do all sorts of things. So, right, there we go. Going to pop that round, just a little bit of that. And the wonderful thing about this is that it acts as a grip for everything else that you might want to put on. Da, da, da. And what else? Ooh, some of what textures, colours, anything like that. Actually, you won't be able to see, if I put too much on, you won't be able to see the effect of the heavy-duty tight. So I'm going to take even less off. There we go, just a little bit there. Right, and then, now I haven't put a tie on yet. Going to take a slice of stocking. Going to take that loop, cut it again, get a stretchy bit of string. Going to tie it round the base, round the neck. And just when it gets to the point where you think, ooh, yeah, but you can still get your finger in, that's where you make the knot. Make a knot there. Now, this is a simple soft pot. It's the one that I always teach demonstrate when I'm demonstrating on this program. But, you know, there's so many other forms that you can take. And so please feel free to contact me if you would like to partake in the downloadable video series. And then you can learn all about all the different techniques and all the different styles and how to do them from the comfort of your own home, and you won't have to come to Henshaw's. I know that people are all over the world, taking my fingers down, taking it over, da-da-da, grab, all the usual stuff, pick it up, keep it clear underneath, grab its bum, don't let go. Going to bring this down, over, there we are. Should have tied it a bit tighter, I think. But can you see It's quite good actually, the heavy duty type. I think what I'm going to do is make it clearer. Sometimes less is more. Right, let's have another go. Actually, I'm going to just tie that a little bit tighter. Then bring it down again. Let's see. Let's keep it nice and simple. Keep it like that. No glitter, no glitz. Nothing more. No, I like that. I like that little bit of woolly stuff there. Yeah, you can see it better now. See? I mean, it's quite funky, isn't it? I quite like it. I do. Now, in order to keep it all nice and sort of shiny and bright, we have to do the twizzle. Now, the twizzle's over quickly, and it's what makes all the bright and shiny bits normally really jump out and stay that way. Otherwise, you finish up with a dark pot. What you have to do, turn it upside down. Grab it close to its bum so it doesn't get too dizzy, and then twizzle. Twizzle it. And just when it gets to the point where it's like you can feel the resistance, that's where you stop. And you just tie a knot. Simple knot. There we go. Cut the umbilical cord and your soft pot is born. Now you can give it any shape you like. If you roll it, you can force out the sides, you can squash it in. Ooh, I rather like that. Ooh. Oh, yes. They're so tactile, you know. Just incredibly, incredibly tactile. It's like your plant's got a body. Oh. So, there we go. Now, actually, that's not bad, is it? You know, it's okay. But again, you're still having to use, recycled or not, I'm still having to use a Tendenia sheer, shiny, glossy stocking or tight leg. And this is done in blonde. I've always used black. I thought I'd show you something different. And it's nice for a change. So, there we go. Well, we haven't done just one soft pot today, have we? We've done two. And both in the pink. That's rather good. This is the way to keep yourself in the pink. This is the way to keep the light alive in you all the way through those dark winter months. You don't have to go out there in the garden. You can do it at home, indoors, in the comfort of your own home, and finish up with something that just generates love and reward. It's so rewarding to do this. And I just want to share it with you because it's just so worthwhile. And it makes a different sort of garden, a totally unique garden. And you can do things with it that you never do with an ordinary garden. I still haven't managed to rig it up so that I can show you photographs. But if you're anywhere near Henshaws, go visit Henshaws. The soft pot garden is there, and it's really quite fabulous as an example of the sort of garden that you can make. You make a different garden. Everybody makes different soft pots, different garden, and I mean that's the joy of it. As the RHS finds it's very hard to judge, and it is. You know, soft pots are what you make them. And their therapy, their healing, their love. Share it. Please, thank you very much indeed for joining me today. Hopefully I'll be back next week. Goodness knows what I'll be doing, but I think it's coming close to Valentine's, isn't it? So I'll maybe do something with a sort of Valentine-y theme. You know, maybe do a few more feathers. We'll see. Got no idea what I do until I do it. Oh, such freedom with Softbox. Well, thank you very much. Please like and share this video. I'm not very good at promotion. Yes, and until next week, joy and ease. Thank you very much. Bye for now.